Hi, this video is going to show you how to download and get WorldKit up and running. You can get WorldKit by going to github.com/AdamBrown/WorldKit. I recommend you use the green download link and the open in desktop button to get WorldKit. There are other ways you could grab it if you're familiar with Git, but if you're watching this video, I recommend you use the GitHub desktop client. It's going to be the easiest and most straightforward. If you don't have GitHub Desktop installed, the blue link that I use to open in desktop will instead be a link that you can use to install GitHub Desktop for the first time. The next thing you want to do is set up an IDE that you can use to build and run WorldKit. I recommend the IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition, and the link is on the GitHub page, so you can download that. I'm going to show how to get it up and running in that here. And you can use whatever Java IDE you're comfortable for this. It should work fine with Eclipse or NetBeans or whatever else you want to use if you're more familiar with those things. IntelliJ is the IDE that I use to develop WorldKit, and it's the only one I've tested it with, so for the smoothest experience, I recommend going with IntelliJ for now. The Ultimate Edition, if you have that, will work just as well as the Community Edition, of course. I already had the IntelliJ Community Edition installed because I was testing this out earlier, so I didn't run through the whole setup wizard there, but it's pretty straightforward. Just follow the prompts to go through. Then you'll want to go to the folder where you cloned the GitHub repository and open the build.gradle file in the root of that directory as a project in IntelliJ Community Edition. It may not fully import the project successfully right away because if you don't use Java on a regular basis, you probably don't have a Java JDK set up in the IDE. So to get that, you'll want to go back to the GitHub page. I've got a link to download OpenJDK. OpenJDK 11 is the last one that I tested WorldKit with, so I recommend using that one. It might work all right with other versions of the JVM, but this one's going to work for sure. I already downloaded a copy of JDK 11, so I'm going to skip that part. I grabbed it while I was testing this out earlier. The current incarnation of the JDK comes as a zip file, so you'll need to extract that somewhere. I copy it into program files, Java, and then JDK name here, just because that's where Java used to get installed, and I have other JDK sitting in that location. So once you extract those files there, you'll want to head back to IntelliJ Community Edition. You want to right-click on the module and go to Open Module Settings, and under Project there will be a drop-down for JDKs. You want to add a new JDK, so navigate to the place where you extracted JDK 11 in the last step and select that folder. IntelliJ is going to recognize that as a JDK and set it up for you. So now that we have the JDK set up, we can continue with importing the project. So we'll want to re-import from Gradle. If you go to the Gradles tab and click on the project, reload, you'll need to set up the JDK for the Gradle. You can use the error link that it gives you there, and that should fix it up. Now it should do a little bit more while it's importing the project. And once the project is re-imported successfully, the next thing we'll need to do is set up a run configuration. So you can go to Add Configuration. You want an application configuration. The main class we want is called main. You need to set up a working directory for it, and really that can be wherever you want. In this case, I think I just set it up to be the location where I pulled WorldKit. For the class path, you'll want to use GC main and you'll want to use the project JVM. That'll be the JDK11 that we installed before. For the VM options, I've put the ones that you'll need on GitHub, so just copy them from there. You'll need to replace X in the name with your username, and make sure that those paths exist locally. The default setup is using 16 gigs of RAM. I think it works with 8, but it's been a while since I tested that. I'm not sure how well that works, so if you don't have 16 gigs of free RAM, you might run into issues there. The last thing that you'll need to do is go back to GitHub and download these amplification dictionaries. You could generate your own using the classes that are in the WorldKit project from dem data if you like, but the quickest way to get started will be to just use the amplification dictionaries that I provided from dem data that I had on hand. And you'll want to put this data into the WorldKit app data directory, and it's in the VM options that you copied off the GitHub page, but it's usually your user app data local WorldKit, and you'll want to extract the zip file there when you're done. And here I already had the data extracted, so I didn't re-extract, but if you're doing it for the first time, those files won't be there, so you'll need to extract the zip file there. And that should pretty much be it. If you hit the play button next to your run config, it will do a compile, and this could take some time to run. I think about two minutes or so on moderate hardware. There'll be a bunch of warnings because I haven't cleaned up some prototype stuff in there, and Kotlin has been upgraded a couple times since I committed some of these files. And eventually you should get WorldKit up and running. So the quick path is create a new project, generate some terrains, different seeds that you like, map with different map outlines, select the number of regions that you want. Kind of like the looks of this one, so I increase the number of biomes that I want and generate some biome layouts, select the detail scale and click build mesh. And that's pretty much it. It's up and running. And it's probably a good time to mention that last I checked, this was not working on AMD video cards, only on NVIDIA cards. It appears to kind of work. The UI will probably get up and running. It'll build a window. It'll let you generate a map and get almost most of the way there. But when you go to build the mesh, it will not generate the correct output, and what results in the viewport is going to be something crazy instead of what you're actually looking at here with this terrain that I'm looking at. So I did a couple generations here with various detail scales and sizes. You can watch some of the other videos on this playlist if you want to see some of the other features a bit more in depth. I've also not recently tried it on Linux or Mac OS, so it's likely probably not working there. I was developing on Mac OS at one point in time, but that was a while back, and I think things have probably diverged quite a bit since then. You can save out a map as a height map by going to File, Export Maps, and selecting a file to export the elevation to, in this case, test map 1. Select output resolution 16K seems good, so click export. That'll take 43 seconds or so to run, and then you should have a 16-bit PNG file that you can load up in Photoshop or import into Unreal or whatever you want to do with it. It's pretty hard to see the details at 16-bit 16-bit precision because our eyes are just not really attuned enough to see that many levels of gray. So if you want to see some of the detail that WorldKit puts in Photoshop, you might need to use a levels modifier and shrink down the band that you're looking at, and that should make some of the more subtle details show up a bit better. Obviously the best way to look at it is to open it in a 3D program like Unreal Engine and actually look at it in 3D. So definitely recommend giving that a shot. But that's pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you find WorldKit useful. Thank you.